Hey, you're watching Vinyl for Miles, your best resource for music, audio gear, and vinyl reviews. Today we're talking about budget hi-fi setups. I put together a list that's coming in under $1,000 you can use your turntable or hi-fi streaming device with. You do not need a stereo, you do not need an amp. I partnered with Fluance to put this list together. I will review each piece of gear and give you my recommendation. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Michael. This is Vinyl for Miles. What we do here is audio gear, turntables, musical instruments, pretty much anything having to do with pro audio or my hobbies. I'm gonna bring you content. If that's something you're interested in, go and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss out on my future videos. All right, today we're talking about budget hi-fi. Let's start off with the big question. What is budget hi-fi? Well, if you're looking to dive into audiophile grade equipment, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. Recent reports are showing that consumers are spending less and less on non-essential items, including pro audio gear. Typical setups in the audiophile range will go from $5,000 to over $10,000, which is pretty much out of most people's budgets in 2024. So the goal of this video is to give you my recommendation of a killer setup that doesn't require an amp, doesn't require stereo. You could plug a turntable into it, you can plug a streaming device, and it includes tower speakers. All of this coming in under $1,000. Starting off the list, let's go over these awesome powered speakers from Fluance. And these are gonna be the Ai81 floor standing powered speakers. All right, so we're getting nice and low for this one. Now, here is the Ai81 floor standing or tower speaker, if you want to call it that. Now, the tweeter is going to be a 1-inch silk soft dome neodymium ferrofluid cooled tweeter. You're going to have yourself here some 6.5-inch woofers, and these are going to be fiber composite drivers. Now, these speakers do have a subwoofer out. So if you do want to hook up a powered subwoofer to this, you can to complete your system. It is going to be an 80 hertz low pass frequency cutoff. Now, the powered amplifier on here is going to be a Class D 120 watt continuous average output. That's basically going to be 60 watt per speaker. The frequency response in this is going to be 32 hertz to 20 kilohertz, and it is DSP enhanced. If you guys don't know what DSP is, that's digital sound processing. So it's not going to be the naked sound that you would hear straight out of your turntable or out of your audio device. There is a little bit of processing going on built into these speakers. So now we're getting even lower. Now here's the cool thing about the setup on here. So this is where your power amp is. This is where your power is, your power switch. For those who want banana cables, this does have a banana adapter, so you can use the hi-fi banana cables when you're connecting your speakers together. But you do get two RCA inputs, which I have a turntable hooked up to and a hi-fi streaming device. You do have an optical input, so if you want to use this with like your surround sound system, or if you want to use it with your TV, you do have an option here. You do get yourself a sub out, which is right here. So if you want to connect your powered subwoofer, you can do that. And this does have Bluetooth capabilities. Your Bluetooth pairing button is right here. And that's pretty much it. So you can connect up to 4 different devices or 4 different inputs to this speaker, which is pretty much what standard stereo receivers have. All right, so let's talk about controls. I have the speaker turned around. This is still the back. You get this nice little dial here. So this is your volume. And if you press on it, you actually change your input. So you can go from Bluetooth to RCA1, RCA2, optical in. This also doubles as a sleep button. If you want to put the system to sleep, you just press and hold this and it turns it on and turns it off. That way you don't have to fiddle with the switch at the very bottom of the speaker. Now, all of those controls that I just covered are on the remote that is included. So you have your volume up, volume down, your play, you have a mute button, which is very nice, power, which basically puts it to sleep. You can change your input, you can turn the light up and down. So if you want to turn the LED light completely off on the front of the speaker, if it's kind of killing the vibe in your room, you can do that. And then you do get these nice EQ controls. Now the EQ is only going to have 2 options, like basically a 2-band EQ. You can turn your bass up or down, and you can turn the treble up and down. Speaking of bass, the one thing you're gonna notice on the back of the speaker is there is no ports. That is because there is a rear firing bass port that's on the bottom of the speaker. Here is your rear firing port. That's where a lot of your bass is gonna be coming out of the enclosure. Pretty simple, and the legs that are included on this give it room to breathe if you are on hardwood floors. All right, so now that we've covered all the inputs, the outputs, the specs on this powered speaker, let's talk about how it sounds. I've had this speaker for 2 months before I made this review. That's intentional. These speakers actually require break-in. It took me close to 40 hours of regular listening on this and turning it up to pretty loud volumes to break these speakers in. Once they broke in, they sounded great, but one thing that you need to keep in mind, this is a budget setup, so if you are a hi-fi or an audiophile, I don't really think this is gonna cut it for you. If you're someone who's looking to get into hi-fi and someone who's looking to get into pro level audio, I do think this is a great starting point. Now, even if you are an audiophile, it does come with that little EQ curve on here. Now, this is a very V-shaped curve. It's gonna be very bass heavy, and the DSP is definitely adding a little more bass and making it sound a little more artificial than I would prefer. But you can counteract that simply by boosting your treble a little bit and then turning the bass down. I usually go to about -3, and it really starts to breathe and starts to shine once I made those EQ adjustments. But you are getting a full tower speaker with two 6.5-inch woofers for under $500. The built-in 120-watt amp with 4 inputs, you really cannot beat this price and what you get for the money. Just keep in mind, if you open these up and you don't like the way they sound, it's gonna make a world of difference when you break in the speakers. Okay, so we covered how you're gonna be listening and powering the audio in your nice budget hi-fi setup. So let's talk about the first component that I recommend. If you're looking to do a turntable setup, again, you could do turntable or you can do a hi-fi streaming device. Turntable's gonna be a little more money, but I'm recommending the Airy turntable from Fluance. Now this is a belt-driven, pure analog turntable. It comes with an Orifone 2M red cartridge. I upgraded to the blue. I think it sounds a little bit better. That'll cost you about $150 if you want to do that upgrade, but the red sounds completely fine. You can keep the red on here. Now this turntable has several features that are awesome that other competitors don't even come close to in this price range. It will automatically shut off the turntable and turn off the audio after 30 seconds once it hits that inner groove, and you won't have to worry about wearing out your stylus or wasting electricity. That's a huge benefit here. Now there is no built-in preamp for this turntable, so with this recommendation, you are going to have to get a phono preamp. Now the good news is Fluance does offer a phono preamp, which you can package with this on their website for 99 bucks. So it's gonna put your total at around $449 for the turntable and the preamp. Now this does have 2 different speeds. You can do 33, you can do 45. It has a direct out on the back. The cabinet's gonna be an MDF material, and I have the piano gloss black version. Now there is a walnut, there's a natural, and there's a white version of this too, if you wanna look at that. The dust cover is included, and it is a tinted dust cover, which looks really cool. Now it does have a DC servo controlled motor, so you're not gonna have any of that motor noise coming through the turntable. That's what I love about most belt-driven turntables. They are dead quiet. Now the speed variation is at 0.13%. Your wow and flutter is at 0.07%. So all those technical people out there, there's the numbers for you. Now the signal to noise ratio on this is gonna be 65 dB. Platter that it comes with is aluminum, but I upgraded to the acrylic platter. I highly recommend you guys do that. Now this is going to have a static balanced S-type tone arm. For those looking for an analog turntable to add to their stereo setup, this thing is just killer. I've had 0 issues with it. And again, if you do know the upgrades, it's gonna come in at $349. So the grand total for this setup is going to be $499 for the powered speakers. And again, those are the Ai81 floor standing powered speakers from Fluance. It's gonna be an extra $99 for the PA10 phono preamp. And then you got $349 here for the RT83 turntable. And that brings your grand total to $949.47. All right, so we're gonna dive into one more area here, and that's gonna be people who do not want a turntable. So if you're somebody who does not care about turntables and you just want a streaming device that can do hi-fi music, let's dive into that right now. All right, so let's talk about the final thing on the list, and that is a hi-fi streaming device. So I want you to say hello to my little friend. This is the S50 Pro Plus from Arylic. Now this is a wireless streaming preamplifier. This thing is absolutely nuts, and it's gonna come in under $150. So if you're not interested in vinyl and you just wanna stream high-res audio, that's actually gonna bring the cost of this whole system down significantly. Now here's the great thing about the S50 Pro Plus. It is Wi-Fi enabled, so that's gonna give you lossless audio if you wanna stream some hi-fi apps such as Deezer, Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music. Now this does have some additional inputs, so you can actually put this between your turntable and your speakers. It does have a RCA line in, it supports optical in, optical out. It does have a sub out built into it, has an Ethernet connection on it, and of course this wonderful Wi-Fi built in. Now the cool thing about this too is you can do multi-room audio. If you get a few of these and hook them up to some other powered speakers in other rooms, you can play the same music from the single source across your entire house. very similar to what Sonos does, but at a fraction of the cost. Now this does come with a remote, it does come with additional EQ options, and this model actually has a USB in as well. So if you want to put some high-res FLAC files on a USB thumb drive, you can stick that in there and listen to your music that way as well. These can connect to these powered speakers directly through RCA or through optical audio. And from all of the testing that I did, this thing sounds absolutely wonderful paired with the Fluance tower powered speakers. So if you do want to spend an extra $149, you can get this entire system, including the turntable, and have all of your bases covered. You could listen to your analog audio, you can listen to your high res, you can stream Bluetooth, you can do Wi-Fi enabled audio, and you can do multi-room pairings. So anything you could throw at the system would be handled. All right, so there you have it. That is my recommendation if you want to get started with budget hi-fi. Now you can get this entire system brand new, all MSRP, for $1,096. Again, this is optional, the streaming device here. But if you are not a fan of vinyl and you want to just go with a streaming device, that means you do not need that phono preamp, and you can get the wireless streaming preamp and these wonderful power tower speakers, all for $649. Now that's a killer deal. You will get your high-res audio, and you also have room to grow your system because this can do multi-room audio. If you guys want to check out all of the components and the products featured in this video, I will have links below. Again, this video was not sponsored in any way. I just like to work with Fluance, and I've loved their products over the years. Do you guys have a better budget hi-fi solution? If you do, I'd love to hear from you. Till next time, I'm Michael. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.